Second foreign policy issue which South Korean government is dealing with, in addition to the alliance with the United States, is the concept of national security. But in the concept of national security, there's a new concept has been emerging. So let me explain the emergence of new concept in the sense in the field of national security. In the 21st century, owing to the aggravating global crises, including the international environmental problems and also multiplying refugee problems in many regions of the world. And at the same time, the increasing gap between the rich and poor. So there emerged a new concept of security, the so-called comprehensive security, which is a little different from the concept of national security. So this comprehensive security includes human security, environmental security, and economic security. So this new concept of security has been emerging, particularly in the 21st century. Let me introduce a few international environmental problems. Global environmental problems involve one or more of the following problems. First, deforestation. Deforestation means that the decreasing of the jungles and forests in the areas of Brazil or Southeast Asia, largely because of the using the lumber, cutting down the trees, or burning down the trees in order to make farms. So we are losing the lung of the earth gradually. In other words, they are producing as much oxygen as we need. This is a serious problem for us. Desertification, that's the many portions of lands of the earth are becoming a desert, particularly in Northeast Asia. Gobi Desert is getting larger and larger and moving toward east. So perhaps some years later, maybe hundreds or thousands of years later, the Gobi Desert will be seen from north of China or north of Korea. Desertification. And another international environmental problem is rapid population growth. Currently, more than 7.5 billion population is living on the planet. And probably in 20 or 30 years, the number of population of the earth will go up to 9 billion. That is too much for the planet. So there's something has to be done for the future of planet Earth. In food production and equitable distribution. So food production has been concentrated on the few countries, and also some countries do not have enough food to feed the people. So distribution problem of the food is a serious problem too. Global warming, I think you know that, and every year we are losing the great amount of icebergs and the lots of water in this atmosphere causes the heavy rains everywhere in the world. Also, the decreasing of the atmospheric ozone layer and the sunlight coming through the surface of the earth directly. So people are having skin cancer, atmosphere and ozone layer, and acid rain and air pollution. Because of the acid rain, countries are losing the forest and ocean pollution. These are the few exemptions examples of the international environmental problems we have to deal with all together. These are the problems that one or two great powers cannot solve. All the countries in the world together have to deal with and solve these problems. Second problem we are facing is the increasing refugees. In the past decade, global refugee population has more than doubled. According to the United Nations HCR, the Human Committee for Refugees, currently 82 million people around the world have been forced to flee their homes. So it is estimated that about 82 million people are the candidate of refugees. Among them, there are about 26 million refugees now in all over the world. And problem is that 68% of the world refugees come from only just from 5 countries. Let me introduce you some numbers of the significant refugees by the regions. Africa, about 4 million, Europe, 4 million, and Asia and Pacific, 3.8 million, Middle East and North Africa, 2.3 million, and Americas, 747,000. So all these are the about 26 million refugees are found. So owing to the increasing global problems, the concept of traditional security has changed. And then what is traditional security? There's a TS. The traditional security issues are about the threats against the essential values of the state, territorial integrity, and political sovereignty. So traditional means to achieve the national goals consist of weapons, traditional weapons, armaments, and military, also diplomatic means, and alliance. All these are the traditional means in order to maximize national interest. But all these means are consistently changing under the impact of technological innovation, new ideas, and political evolution. So traditional concept of security and traditional means of security are having rapidly in the state of change. And what is comprehensive security? The definition of comprehensive security is the extension of national security from traditional military notion to non-military fields such as economy and society, culture, and environment. In other words, from the outer threat and invisible security to the concrete notion that individuals could feel and enjoy. Because when we say national security, we do not feel or we do not enjoy. But in contrast to that notion, the comprehensive security make the people can feel and enjoy their concepts. And better life and happiness of the people by the physical safety and economic development are conceived as the responsibility of the state. So everybody has the right to be happy, and everybody has the right to have money for food. All these are considered as the responsibility of the government. That's what comprehensive security is all about. So in the concept of comprehensive security, there's some other notions of security are involved. Definitely human security. So human security means protecting fundamental freedoms, freedoms that are essence of life. Freedom is the essence of life. It means protecting people from critical and pervasive threats and situations. So human security integrates three freedoms. So human security are composed of three freedoms. First, freedom from fear. We have a right to live without fear. And freedom from want. We have a right to grab something that we want. And freedom from indignity. Human rights. Human rights. We have a right to enjoy my own rights. These are the basic concept of human security. Already in the year 1994, the United Nations Development Plan, UNDP, made a report, the so-called Human Development Report. So in that report, the UNDP illustrated the 7 items of human security. First, economic security. Also, this is a responsibility of the government. This is a freedom from poverty. And second is food security, freedom from hunger. We have a right not to be hungry. And environmental security, protection from contamination. We have a right to breathe clean air, and drink clean water. That's our right. And health security, protection from disease. We have a pandemic situation sometimes, then it's the government responsibility to protect people from the pandemic disease. And human security, protection from the torture. We have a right not to be tortured. Wars and drugs and civil wars. We have a right to have a happy life outside of the wars or civil wars. And we have the right to live without any drugs. And another human security item is community security, preservation of our own culture and our own race. If some people or some group of the people try to kill a certain race, the so-called cleansing, we have a right to avoid that activities. Lastly, political security. That's the freedom from political suppression. We have a right to live with freedom and liberty. We have a right not to be suppressed by the police or by the government.